Now that the dust has settled from the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, we officially have our Senor Money in the Bank in Damian Priest and our Miss Money in the Bank in Io Sky. So what next? Because of course, as wrestling fans, we can't just sit back and enjoy something and let something develop on its own. We have to poke and pry, we have to speculate, and we have to try and guess what's going to happen. And that's what this video is all about. We're really just going to dissect the current situation that both Io Sky and Damian Priest find themselves in, where I think this storyline is going to go, who they're likely to cash in on, etc, etc. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. This is a wrestling channel through and through, so if you're a wrestling fan, you already found the right place, make sure to subscribe. It really feels as if for the first time in a very long time, we are in a great position in terms of having a long and fruitful Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank reign. At the very least, from the women's side, it's been very problematic in terms of actually allowing for storylines to develop and play out and actually create a narrative around the briefcase, because they've just really used it as a plot device to take the title off of somebody and put it on somebody else. Weirdly enough, because Money in the Bank took place on Saturday and the next available show was Monday, just that 2-day gap was enough for Io Sky to be the second longest reigning Miss Money in the Bank. That's pathetic. For the first time in a very long time, we have a Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank that are one on separate shows. So we're going to get Money in the Bank storylines on both Raw and SmackDown, which is fantastic. 2, they're both in excellent spots in the card. In 3, they have really natural storylines that can be told right after winning the briefcase. That seems to have been a rarity over the last several years. And all this bodes well for us as fans in terms of getting a long and fruitful Money in the Bank briefcase reign. Let's just quickly look at all of the greatest cash-ins and reigns in Money in the Bank history, because all of them have been, 1, long, and 2, they've told a narratively cohesive storyline around the briefcase and around the holder of the briefcase. We can look no further than Edge cashing in on John Cena, Dolph Ziggler cashing in on Alberto Del Rio, the heist of the century with Seth Rollins, and the greatest women's cash in Carmella cashing in on Charlotte. We are well primed to potentially get that level of cash in inevitably when it does happen, and it makes me very, very excited for the future of Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank. So let's quickly look at Judgment Day's Damian Priest and where he's going to be likely going with this storyline. Because immediately after winning the briefcase, he's immediately tossed in and embroiled in a storyline and feud with champion Seth Rollins, as well as Judgment Day running buddy Finn Balor. And I think that the very easy and lazy storyline to do is that Finn Balor beats Seth Rollins at SummerSlam only for Damian Priest to cash in and ruin his moment. I think that's too easy and too lazy. And easy and lazy is not something that Triple H has signed on for. He is very much about the long-term play, the long-term storyline, and allowing things to develop. And I think that's what we're going to be getting here with this Judgment Day storyline. Because if Damian Priest just immediately cashes in on Finn Balor, you are basically destroying the Judgment Day right then and there. And I think right at this moment, it doesn't make sense, because the Judgment Day is one of the hottest things in the WWE, and you would be ruining a lot of great things that they could be doing as a stable. And aside from Rhea Ripley, I'm not sure that Finn Balor, Damian Priest, and Dominic Mysterio can survive as single stars at this moment in their career. Finn Balor was floundering, and it was Judgment Day that was able to revitalize his career. The same thing goes for Damian Priest, the triple it goes for Dominic Mysterio. Rhea Ripley, I really think, is the only one who could go off on her own and not be damaged by leaving the Judgment Day. Everyone else would see a net negative if they were to destroy and implode the Judgment Day. It's kind of the same reason why I didn't think Roman Reigns should lose at WrestleMania, because it left a lot of meat on the bone in terms of the storyline that could be told with the bloodline had we dethroned the tribal chief right then and there. And I was right. Look at all these amazing story beats that we've gotten with the bloodline. All of this meat is still left on the bone for the Judgment Day as well. Let me tell you what I want to see out of this Judgment Day storyline and how we make this into a long-term play as opposed to going for quick gratification. Let's pretend that we live in a world where Seth Rollins does lose to Finn Balor at SummerSlam and Finn Balor becomes the new world heavyweight champion. What I then want to see is I want to hear Damian Priest's music hit. He's got Money in the Bank briefcase in hand and he is running at full speed. You think he's there to cash in when he slides into the ring ring. Instead of cashing in, he hugs and embraces and congratulates Finn Balor. But in Finn Balor's paranoia, he pushes away Damian Priest, rolls out of the ring, and leaves Damian Priest confused in the ring, because all Damian Priest wanted to do was congratulate Finn Balor in his victory. This is how we start real paranoia within the Judgment Day that can last for months and months and months, as opposed to just doing something quick and taking the title off of Finn Balor and destroying the Judgment Day right then and there. Instead, let's slowly destroy the Judgment Day from within, and this opens up lots of awesome opportunities for Finn Balor to bring in somebody like JD McDonough into the Judgment Day, because he lacks trust in Damian Priest. He needs somebody else to watch his back in case Damian Priest ever decides to cash in. This is how we decide to create cinema within the Judgment Day, as opposed to, again, that quick gratification, which Triple H is not known for quick gratification. He is very much well known for the long play and allowing things to burn slowly until eventually becomes this explosive crescendo that blows all of our minds, as he's been recently doing with the Bloodline. I think there is so much meat left on the bone of the Judgment Day that we could potentially get that level of storytelling here with Judgment Day, Damian Priest, and Finn Balor. And the beauty of that story is that it could go on for months and months and months. Finn Balor is never able to sleep easy. He will always be looking over his shoulders. But let's not forget that at one moment in time, Damian Priest made a promise to Finn Balor that he would never cash in on him. And I am of the mind that he is going to keep that promise. Finn Balor will lose the title to somebody inevitably, only for Damian Priest to keep the title within the family of the Judgment Day by cashing in the briefcase, keeping the title on the Judgment Day, and continuing that tension of who is now the leader of Judgment Day. Is it Finn Balor, the veteran, or is it now the world champion Damian Priest? Even when the briefcase is cashed, there is still a lot of meat on the bone to tell a wonderful story. This is how you utilize the Money in the Bank briefcase to elevate not just one person, but to elevate everyone around you. Judgment Day would absolutely catapult to the stratosphere if they actually tell us a storyline like this. And then we have Io Sky, who also has a great storyline immediately in place with a direct feud with her mentor in Bayley. Now, the big difference with Io Sky's reign versus Damian Priest's reign is that Io Sky's reign can be a little bit more of the traditional Miss Money in the Bank, where she could just be cashing in on any champion at any time, as opposed to using the briefcase to elevate a major story like I was planning with Judgment Day and Damian Priest's briefcase. Io Sky's briefcase can be used to elevate her, and it doesn't have to be a story around Damage Control, even though her first initial feud can be about who should be, the leader of Damage Control, whether or not it was Io that really cost Bayley the Money in the Bank briefcase, yada, yada, yada. There is a story to be told there, no doubt, for sure. But Io Sky's reign is going to be the more traditional type of reign, where she could cash in on anyone anytime, and you just won't know why. There doesn't necessarily have to be a cohesive storyline that tells it. Think of the likes of Dolph Ziggler, where rather than telling a large elaborate storyline, we can really use the briefcase to make Io Sky a, quote, ultimate opportunist and wait for the right time to cash in on a champion. But rather than doing it so quickly like most women have, let's have her beat Carmella's record of being the longest Miss Money in the Bank. Heck, why don't we use this as an opportunity for her to be the first woman to cash in at, say, a WrestleMania or something like that? Let's use the briefcase that Io Sky has to create a monumental moment in women's wrestling. And for that, it doesn't matter who the champion is, and it doesn't matter what storylines are going on at the moment. It can be Becky Lynch, it could be Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Charlotte, it could be Asuka. Asuka probably makes the most sense, but again, it doesn't matter. Let's just save Io Sky's cash in for a huge moment to create that moment that we're able to look back in on and say, this is the greatest cash in women's history, because right now the bar is quite low. Carmella's cash in was pretty good, but we don't have anything yet in terms of women's Money in the Bank history that is this quintessential multiverse mind-bending moment, unless Io Sky creates it, which she very, very well could. I'm just gonna shoot my shot and say that they should have her cash in at WrestleMania in a Heist of the Century style. why not? Look, what I can say with confidence is that this is the most excited I've been for a Mr. and Miss Money in the Bank. Neither of them are boring. Neither of them are people that I didn't want to see win. Both of them can be elevated by the briefcase. Both of them can become world champions. Both of them can become main eventers. And that is exactly what we need out of the briefcase. It's not an avenue to just randomly take the title off of somebody. It needs to be a star-making opportunity, either with pure shock, which is what I'm suggesting with Io Sky, cash this in at the craziest moment imaginable, or with beautiful storytelling in cinema, which is what I'm suggesting for Damian Priest. Thank you very much for watching this video. Get out of here.